Hey everybody, welcome back to Movie Master, where we rank, review, trailer react, and talk news about movies, TV shows, and video games. Nonetheless, welcome back to the channel everybody, and today I want to rank every movie from Phase 3 of the MCU. Now I believe there are 11 movies in Phase 3, I'm not including any of the TV shows, and well yeah. And the next two videos will obviously be Phase 4, and the finale video to this MCU extravaganza videos I've been doing recently will be a big entire MCU ranking without the TV shows, because I've already ranked the Disney Plus shows before, and that's a ranking that'll be like that until I have to upgrade the MCU phase. The only rankings I'll have to update out of the Marvel ones would have to be Phase 4, MCU as a whole, and then MCU Disney Plus shows. Those are the only ones I'll have to update, but yeah, besides that. Yeah, now remember this is my opinion, so do not just don't be bothered by my opinion, and yeah, and tell me how do you rank them in the comments down below. What's your favorite? Because well, my least favorite is gonna probably be, have to say, what would my least favorite be? Honestly, I don't know. I'd have to think about which one's my least favorite, and yeah. And there are going to be some very hot takes and controversial picks of where I put certain things. Now, don't judge me. There are certain movies I like more than others, and there are certain movies I don't like that much, okay? And if you don't like that, well, yeah. And if you want to go, oh, but what about this one? And if you want to yell at me and troll me in the comments, screw off and go watch Sean Chandler or Stuckman or something, because, well, if you don't like my rankings, go check out their rankings, because I'm not going to go overrate another MCU movie, because there's one MCU movie on this list that I think is overrated. I think it's cool, but I don't really care for it, and I put it where I put it because I want to. Nonetheless, tell me what you guys think, and even though, my god, these movies are like 6, 5, 4, 3 years old. Spoilers for all these movies. That's the last time I'm doing this. The next one, screw it. You guys can get spoiled with a bunch of stuff and I won't care. Gonna start it. At number 11 is Captain Marvel. This movie was honestly boring. I don't know. I liked the origin story a bit, but it felt like Carol Danvers was cocky in the way she acts a bit. I know it made sense for it, but the cockiness just, I didn't really like it. And the fact that it just felt like it just felt like they were bringing in a new character, setting her up, and then making it off that she would, like with Captain America, travel into that. It was another period piece film, set up her origins, introduce her, and put her in Avengers Endgame. She was already teased in Avengers Infinity War, so yeah. Nonetheless, I like the movie, okay? It's a good movie. I really do think it's good. But I wouldn't put it as one of my top favorites. It's not because she's a female or anything. It's just, okay, look, it wasn't my favorite. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't my least favorite. Just it wasn't personally one I was really interested in watching. It's a good movie, though, but yeah, it wasn't really a film I was interested in. I felt like it just set it up, continued off Ant-Man and the Wasp and Infinity War, and just set up in game, so yeah. Nonetheless, tell me what you guys think, and with that, at number 10 is Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Now, or Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, if you want to be more specific. Now, this movie, again, I like the movie. I think it really fits in well. It's a good movie. I think they really deliver well on the ego plotline that was teased in the first Guardians of the Galaxy film. Because, well, they teased that he's not entirely from Earth, or Terran, as he likes to say. His mother was there. His father was something else, allowing them to hold the Power Stone in Guardians of the Galaxy 1, because any person should be killed. But the son of a Celestial or Demi-Celestial should have been able to survive it. Or a Celestial or Eternal should be able to survive the power of a stone. With that, the film is good. The film is actually quite good. I like the arcs they give for Yondu, for Peter Quill. I like the arcs they give for all the characters. And they really do well with the Peter Quill dad plotline. And they do well with it. Kurt Russell does amazing. And for once, one of the many times he was in the villain role instead of the hero. So yeah. And my mum was a big fan of Kurt Russell, and she actually quite liked this one. It was a bit underwhelming in bits, but overall I liked it. I love the fact that now set up Adam Warlock for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is releasing soon around next year, and I'm very excited. Nonetheless, the film's alright, the film's good, and I think it's a good movie. I think people should check it out, and yeah, okay. Number 9 is Spider-Man Far From Home. This movie is, again, it was good. It was a good movie. It was definitely good, but it wasn't. A lot of people, I really don't know why, said it was the best Spider-Man film of all time, beating the Raimi films out by miles. It was not. Now, I do not like it for reasons like high top films where Peter never learns a lesson, or it's a not great movie, or just it has no connections to any other good. It has not really good material like that. Look, I think Peter learns a great character arc in this movie. And the film is good. It's a good movie. It's a good movie, and it's a good Spider-Man movie. But it's not a great Spider-Man movie. It fits in around the area of where The Amazing Spider-Man 1 would go. It's good. Okay, it's all that is it's good. It's not great tier. It's not bad tier. It fits in at good. It's not bad. It's not meh. It's good. And it doesn't go in the great or awesome tier. It would never go anywhere near those. Because it's a good movie. But I think it feels like more that it focuses more on Iron Man. That's why I don't believe none of the Spider-Men have the record of the best villains in a row. Because Tom Holland has good villains, but it feels like the first two villains, essentially, this isn't why I don't like them. I do like them, but it feels like one of their problems is the fact that, well, you can't really count that all the villains Tom has are really his. Jamie Foxx, Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, Thomas Hayden Church aren't even his villains. They're all villains from past Spider-Man films, including Rhys Ifans. They're all from the Andrew Garfield and Tobey franchise, so you can only really count Vulture, Shocker, and Mysterio. And they're all good villains, but it feels like Vulture and Mysterio, especially in this one, I think I like the way Homecoming did it with saying, oh, like, yo, like, this is a new storyline. We're doing it because Tony Stark is the reason why this villain hates him, and he's such a relatable villain, and the fact that he had such a good character arc is really why I think Adrian Toomes was cool for Spider-Man Homecoming, and it made a different take from other Spider-Man films. This one, it felt like it was overdone, and already there was so much Tony Stark blabbering that I don't really know why the villain had to be connected to him. I don't mind taking them away from New York, but it really did feel like it took away from the core of Spider-Man by taking them away to New York. The only reason I think people wanted to actually put money into this to make it beat Spider-Man 3 is because people wanted to see what would happen after Endgame, and because people genuinely wanted to see it. Heck, I even went to go see this with my family, my mum and Nan, and my mum was thoroughly underwhelmed by it. Well, it's not underwhelmed, she just didn't like it. And I would agree, I was not underwhelmed, but I'm underwhelmed and don't really like it. It was good, but it wasn't the greatest movie of all time, as many YouTube channels have said. I don't mind people who like it, but it's far from the best Spider-Man movie. It's good, but it's not great. They're great. They're better. The Raimi films are by miles. The first two Raimi films especially are by miles better than Far From Home. Homecoming is better by Far From Home by miles. No Way Home, better than Far From Home by miles. It does a great way where it ties up. I like the fact that narratively it ties up the MCU well with Iron Man and everything, but it felt like that for the story, it was overloaded too much with Iron Man and it weakened the story, but it really did well with the narrative, making that at the start of the MCU, an identity got revealed. So at the end, identity had to be revealed, whether it was willingly or unwillingly. And it sets up the sequel really well, and it really honestly just, yeah, made you question what would happen. Number 8, now please take this with the lightest grain of salt. Black Panther. Yeah, go shout your comments in the comments below. Look, it's a good movie. I like the unique perspective it does on the Wakandan area. I really do think it's a unique movie that delves into the black area, to the very black African area of the Marvel universe, and it really does well. And I really do think it earns its spot as the highest. What was the highest grossing superhero? It's one of the highest gross. It's the highest grossing superhero movie. So yeah. I don't know if it still has that title now. I have to check again, but well, from what I last remember, it did. I have nothing against it. It's good, okay? Just it wasn't one of my favorites. I watched it because of Chadwick Boseman's death. Did it take Chadwick Boseman's death for me to watch it? Yep. I never really wanted to. Look, it wasn't my movie. If it wasn't mine, then why would I watch it? Because there's certain movies that aren't my thing. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it was terrible. It was a good movie, okay, people? I thought it was good. I think it really deserved the greatness that it gets, but it just wasn't my movie. And to those who disagree with me, go to another channel. I think Killmonger's a great villain. I think he's one of the greatest villains of the MCU. I think this is one of the greatest movies of the MCU, but for me, I just didn't really think. Okay? And I have really no interest in checking out the sequel, except for Namor, what they might do with Black Panther's character. I would like it if they made someone else Black Panther for now, before they gave it to Shuri, because I would like Shuri to be Black Panther, just maybe put a little gap in between Shuri becoming Black Panther and, yeah, just in my opinion. Nonetheless, and number 7 is Thor Ragnarok. I think Thor Ragnarok is a really great way to re-energize the Thor franchise. It was pretty clear that Thor 1 was good. It was a really good movie. I liked it. I really liked that film. Thor Avengers, he was great in Avengers as a supporting character. Thor the Dark World, it was boring and pretty much there were a few good things, but it was boring. And well, Avengers the Vulture one again, he was kind of kept that boring status. And so I can see why Thor Ragnarok had to reinvent his character. I think it does really well. The story's really great. As a whole, it's really good. I really do like the fact that it's connected yet disconnected. But I think the problem with it is that it feels a bit too much like it's too much of comedy in my opinion. And I really do think it's too much of comedy. It just has it's overloaded too much with comedy. And it really just kind of, yeah, I like it, but it's not my favorite Thor film. That would go to Thor 1. That is my favorite Thor film out of all of them. And Thor 4 probably go around where Thor Ragnarok is, or I don't know, higher. But yeah, I like Thor Ragnarok. I think it was re-energizing and greatly good re-energizing of the Thor franchise. But Yeah, it was a good movie, but it was a great movie though. I really do think it's a great movie, and it really re-energizes the MCU in its way, and I really do think it's a good movie. Okay, nonetheless, at number 6 is Captain America: Civil War. Now, look, do I think Civil War is better than Winter Soldier? Yep. I say that with wholehearted confidence, because I really do think it is. I never really cared that they adapted the comics, because my mum was kind of disappointed when they didn't do the thing in the comics where a school blew up and it caused, a bunch of other shenanigans caused the whole Civil War fight. What I like is they kept it condensed. When Marvel was deciding, hey, what should we do first, Infinity War or Civil War? And they thought, hey, why not switch it around and do Civil War first? One of my friends even mistaked Civil War for being Infinity War. When I saw it back in 2018, I went to go talk to him about it, and this wasn't Caden, this was another friend. He thought, wait, but he thought Civil War was Infinity War. And thought Infinity War was Civil War. I argued with him, eventually gave up, and went to go talk to Caden about it. He didn't talk to me about it until after he saw it, and that whole thing happened. Nonetheless, the film's really good. It really shakes up the MCU bigger than Civil War did. Civil War, S.H.I.E.L.D. got... Not Civil War, Winter Soldier, S.H.I.E.L.D. was now compromised. The biggest benefactor and the biggest helper of the Avengers, and one of the biggest defense systems in the world, in the MCU universe, was taken down. But now, this movie's even bigger. The Avengers, one of the Earth's mightiest heroes, the team that defends the world from aliens and all that, has now been disbanded. They are caught in the crossfires of what to do, and both sides have their goods and bads. Captain America's right. Heroes shouldn't be forced to be used by the government when they do please. Because it's pretty clear what I like about them is when they bring back General Ross, a cool little catchback, cool little link up with the Incredible Hulk, is that it shows General Ross's crave for power. And it really shows what he craves, like he craves power. So he wants to try and control the Avengers to use them however he likes. And I really do like how it continues. Cap's disinterested side, just taking his jacket off though. Behind my seat, it shows what really is that the United States can be, and government can be, very controlling. Like whenever something bad happens to them, they'll ask the Avengers, hey, let's strike that country and destroy it. When a country targets them, they'll go, when they're doing something wrong, and they know the Avengers won't be calling on them to stop it. And if they signed those accords, it would give away the right for them to choose. That meant the Avengers, the fates of their team, would be left in the hands of the government. And somebody like General Ross, as we've already known, he's not the best at control. He's a controlling person who turned an innocent person into a big green rage monster and made him a fugitive. And then turned the second one into a big green, into an addict wearing a-hole, and turned him into another big giant monster. And he's now doing a game where he ended up nearly splitting up the team. Tony makes good points, yeah. He wants to try and reprimand and fix his mistakes from what happened in Sokovia. And he regrets what happened to Ultron. And I will agree, yeah, that happened. And that was a mistake. But the fact that he just blindly ignores the fact that, well, yeah, there are some people getting hurt. There are some teams, there are some areas getting broken. There are rules getting bended. It was such a... As a kid, I liked watching it. Is it because of Spider-Man? No. Civil War, me liking it isn't because Spider-Man pops out of nowhere. Honestly, at the time when I saw it, I didn't really care. I liked Tom Holland, but I never really cared. Because at that point, I wasn't in the Spider-Man phase anymore, and I was tired of what Spider-Man had become. I liked him, but at the point I liked him, but I was kind of tired of what had become of Spider-Man. So I kind of never really cared. But I was still happy about it. I was happy to see a new Spider-Man, but I never really cared. Overall, I liked Civil War. My mom hated it. She never watched it properly, and then realized when she watched it, it was actually quite good. I think it is overall not the best, but I do think it's my favorite out of all the Captain America movies. And I think it's better, in my opinion, than Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier was good, but this is better than it. Yeah, just because I put Winter Soldier on number 1 in Phase 2 doesn't mean it's going to go high on my official MCU list. Look, I like Winter Soldier, but Civil War took what Winter Soldier did and bumped it up to 11 and set up Infinity War and set up Endgame and everything, setting that all up, setting up sequels and spin-offs, setting up Spider-Man, Black Panther, setting up more movies to follow on from this plotline, and I think they did really well in that. And overall, it was a really good movie. I really liked it, and I think it was quite a good movie. Number 5 is Spider-Man Homecoming. This movie, I really liked it. This movie was a real good movie. It was a unique dive into the Spider-Man area, and well, it continued where Civil War left off in a very good fashion. I liked the new comedy, high school-like area that they went with it. They went for more like a 80s kind of high school, John Hughes kind of style with the high school, like Breakfast Club. I've never seen this movie, but I really do think it's awesome. They went in this unique route and went for a more different route, like a high school-like setting. actually casting high school actors, keeping it in New York, and keeping it to the New York area. That's what makes it really fun. And even though, yes, I will agree with Mr. Carroll, it verges, definitely does verges on fanfiction at some points, especially this movie and No Way Home do verge on fanfiction. Yes, do No Way Home and Homecoming verge on fanfiction? Yes, I love No Way Home. Love No Way Home. Better than Homecoming and a really good Spider-Man film. But it is very much verging on fanfiction. Same thing with Homecoming. It verges on fanfiction, but the villain is really great. Overall, it feels like the villain is really likable. Like, you can understand why he's doing what he's doing. He's not doing it to take over the world, or to turn the world into darkness, or to rule it, or to destroy it, or to take over another planet. He's just doing it to get money for his family and make sure his daughter and family have the best life possible. And that's, I gotta admit, it's sad because, well, it delves deeply, and I really do think they do well in this, is they delve deep into the idea of it. Peter Parker wins and Spider-Man loses, or Spider-Man wins and Peter Parker loses. And this film does it again. Spider-Man wins. He defeats the Vulture, ridding New York of another seedy arms dealer and ridding the world of another bad guy. But Peter Parker loses. This means his girlfriend, Liz Allen, ends up having to leave Midtown High and New York to move away to a different area. And that ends up really making Peter Parker sad. And unfortunately, yeah, Peter Parker loses in the sense of that. He loses the girl he loves. And I really do think the film does that so well. Okay? Now, the movie's really good, but let's move on to number 4, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I really quite liked Ant-Man. I really do think the action was bumped up really good in the sequel. I liked the new suit. I liked some of the ways they really continued well on from Infinity War. And made it clear that this was a prequel to Infinity War with the post-credit scene set definitely after it. It was a really fun film. I love the comedy. I really do think the film does well. It feels a bit more like it's expressive in its personality than the first one did. I will agree there's flaws to what they are. Yeah, there are some flaws. There are clearly some flaws wrong with the film. Overall, I quite like it. I like the romance that gets started between Hope Van Dyne and Scott Land, but overall, I really do like the film. It's a good movie. I really hope it does well, and well, not really hope it does well. I just really think it was a good movie, and I really think it was a good movie. It was a unique movie, and the ending just set up so well how Ant-Man will play a role in Avengers Endgame, and the same thing with Captain Marvel. It does well. It's setting up what these characters will have a role in the Endgame film, which will be the big ultimate finale to the Infinity Saga as a whole. The next film after that, number 3, is Doctor Strange. Now, this movie, I loved this movie. I already knew who he was on the comics, but I thought, I don't really want to watch this. But I watched it, and damn, I loved the movie. It was a really great movie. We got to see how he became Doctor Strange. We got to see him get the blue uniform, the Eye of Agamotto, and the Cloak of Levitation, and even his really cool one-off time, although I don't know why Thor Ragnarok was the only one that had this, of his yellow gloves, which were really, really cool. And I really wish Avengers Infinity War, Endgame, and No Way Home, and even Sam Raimi's Doctor Strange 2 didn't bring this back. His yellow gloves. They were really cool. I really do think his gloves are cool. The film was great as a whole, and it nearly gave him a one-to-one comic book-like accurate costume, with the only thing being there completing it, the gloves, which I really hoped returned in Infinity War, but it did not. But the film was great. I really like it. It tells an origin story well, but it still stands on well as its own story. The villain, Caecilius, played by Mads Mikkelsen. Mads Mikkelsen, great actor. Villain, boring. He was kind of boring. Not as boring as Malekith, but still quite verging on boring. And I'll never rank the MCU villains or heroes, because hell no. Especially now, there are too many heroes, and I'll have to go through too many lists, and I won't know who's a hero, who's an anti-hero. I might know who's who, but there's so many characters at the point now. It's pronounced hero, villain, anti-hero. So yeah. The film's good. I really like it. I think it does well into the magical horror-like area. It sets up the horror ideas, but introduced a really cool concept of, that aspect. And then number 2 is Avengers Infinity War. This movie, I just really like this film. This film was a really good movie, and I really do think it culminates well. And one thing I think Doctor Strange also did well, it took a new character into the MCU and set them up well for this. Avengers Infinity War's first trailer, I'm not gonna lie, I was hyped. They were now bringing back the OG Avengers members. Not to mention, in the first trailer, in its closing moments, Thor asked, "Who the hell are you guys?" And we see a dramatic shot with Peter Quill smiling, and a bunch of the Avengers, a bunch of all the Guardians of the Galaxy with Mantis waving, Drax holding his belt like dramatically and looking at him. all of that, and it was awesome because now the Guardians and the Avengers were going to meet for the very first time, because I loved the Guardians Adventures in Space, but now we were seeing them cross over with the Avengers in an awesome fashion. And all I wanted to see else besides that is Fantastic Four and Spider-Man interact. And what would I do for fan casting for Fantastic Four? Don't care, I'll still do John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, Dacre Montgomery, and Brendan Fraser. Yes, I do think Brendan Fraser should play the Thing. I think he's a great actor, and I think he could do well. Dacre Montgomery is Human Torch, and Emily Blunt is Miss Invisible Woman, and John Krasinski is Reed Richards. Although, yeah. Continuing on, this film was good. I really do think it was like a really cool crossover, and it was cool getting to see Spider-Man with all his mates after a really good introduction in Civil War and a great setup in Homecoming. And the fact that they just did a really cool job, in my opinion, at doing all this, and I really do think it was cool. And Infinity War was a really awesome film, and I really do think it was a good movie. Nonetheless, I really think this was a good movie. It was a great part one. It had a very sad ending with half the characters getting dusted, and now setting up a very grim but yet hopeful ending for Avengers Endgame. With that now, number one, and in my opinion, my favorite Phase 3 movie, and in my opinion, the favorite one I would have for it, and if I could pick my favorite for Phase 3, would be Avengers Endgame. This, in my opinion, is my favorite movie out of the whole series, out of the whole Phase 3 of the MCU. And in general, I would say yeah, but I have to, spoilers, can't tell you that. Nonetheless, Avengers Endgame is my favorite movie from Phase 3 of the MCU, and I really like this movie. I don't like it because of the time travel, although I do quite like the time travel aspect of it. I really think it ties up well what they were trying to do with the MCU. Captain Iron Man dies, sacrificing his life and completing his arc journey from Iron Man to now, and setting up a great future. Giving Pepper a great send-off, as likely it would be unlikely, and even Gwyneth Paltrow confirmed that, and Marvel confirmed that this will be the only time Pepper will come as rescue. Gwyneth Paltrow's contract is now expired, and it's unlikely she'll be appearing in the Armor Wars or any future series. Morgan Stark, I think she has more of a likely chance to reappear. I think Pepper can just be explained that she's somewhere else off screen and not really need to explain her appearance, as this movie completed her well, and I really don't think they need to bring her back. Tony, you can bring him back, but only, I think, him and Captain America should only return in Secret Wars. I'm not one of those people going, yo, I want Captain America back. I want Chris Evans back as Captain America. I want Robert Downey Jr. back as Tony Stark. I'm not begging for that. I understand when they died and left, they're gone. They left the series, and now they're not there. And I don't really mind. Would I love to see them, like, you know, return in Secret Wars or something, like a big fat multiversal crossover for Phase 4 or 5? Hell yeah, I'd love to see them come back. I really do want to see them come back, but overall, yeah, I'm not really interested in, yeah, I love the way they tied it up, and even though this wasn't the end of Phase 3, and Far From Home was, I felt like it is an amazing finale for the MCU and Infinity Saga as a whole. Now, nonetheless, that is my ranking for all of them. That is my ranking for all movies in Phase 3 of the MCU. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. And with that, I'll see you guys until the next video. With that, Phase 4's video will come out a bit later than this. Phase 4 in the MCU list will come in another day. This is my ranking for Phase 1, 2, 3 of the MCU and the Infinity Saga as a whole. The next two videos will be Phase 4 and Phase 4 and the entire MCU ranked from worst to best, except for the Disney Plus shows that we give in its own list. And yeah, and I have more films planned to rank, but nonetheless, with that, have a very good day and evening, and thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure to like, to subscribe, and to click that notification bell, whatever that thing may be. Anyway, I don't really honestly know, yeah. But yeah, tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. Nonetheless, I'll see you guys until the next video. Peace out, and this is Movie Master signing off.